Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus took Peter, James, and his brother John, and led them up a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became white as light. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, conversing with him. Then Peter said to Jesus in reply, Lord, it is good that we are here. If you wish, I will make 3 tents here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. While he was still speaking, behold, a bright cloud cast a shadow over them. Then from the cloud came a voice that said, This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. When the disciples heard this, they fell prostrate and were very much afraid. But Jesus came and touched them, saying, Rise, and do not be afraid. And when the disciples raised their eyes, they saw no one else but Jesus alone. As they were coming down from the mountain, Jesus charged them, Do not tell the vision to anyone until the Son of Man has raised from the dead. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
And he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun. As we celebrate the transfiguration of the Lord, it is good that we reflect a little bit on the meaning of the transfiguration, but also the significance that it has of Jesus revealing himself to his apostles in such a special way. Why Jesus does this, especially in that location that is the mountain, is significant. Because the mountain symbolizes many things in the Old Testament, but specifically a place where God speaks. Moses goes up the mountain to speak to God. The prophets go up the mountain. Jesus on several occasions precisely seeks to go to a mountain to be able to get in that closeness with God, mediator between God and man. Once again, we always keep in mind the very significance that Jesus had and mountains had for Jesus. The mountain of the temptation, the mountain of his great preaching, the mountain of his prayer, the mountain of the transfiguration, the mountain of his agony, the mountain of the cross, and finally, the mountain of the risen Lord, where he declares that all power in heaven and earth has been given to him. That's why Jesus goes up to the mountain, in this occasion, to be transfigured before the apostles. The preface for today's Mass tells us why it was necessary. These 3 apostles have walked with Jesus the whole time of his ministry, and they are the core of his ministry. So he brings them to the inner chamber, as it were, the reality of Jesus. Remember, Jesus used to go out to pray by himself, sometimes to a mountain, many frequent times to a mountain, but he went by himself. On this occasion, as he goes up to pray, he takes 3 of his apostles with him. It was necessary. The preface for today's Mass indicates that the scandal of the cross might be removed from the hearts of his apostles. That's the reason why Jesus goes up to the mountain. To remove the scandal of the cross. The cross will make more sense once they see the divinity of Jesus. How did they see the divinity of Jesus? He was not enlightened as Moses was. When Moses goes up the mountain, he saw the face of God and he was enlightened by the face of God. And when Moses comes down, he was radiant of enlightenment. But Moses was enlightening like the moon is enlightened. The moon doesn't radiate light in itself. The moon only receives light from the sun and bounces. Moses, the prophets, the patriarchs, the apostles, even the apostles to this day, the bishops, bounce the light of Christ. So it's an effect of bouncing, that like the moon. They don't generate light, but they just shine the light. That's what happened to Moses. Jesus not. As the Creed says, Jesus is light from light. So the first reading today, we hear the prophet Daniel in his prophecy bringing to us how this Son of Man is radiant in light. That's the divinity of Jesus shining forth. The reality that he is the Son of God, he is God from God, true life from true life, begotten and not made, consubstantial with the Father. That shines light to the apostles. Even if they didn't know that was going to happen, that it's a moment in which it is incrustated in their minds who Jesus is. As they saw him on the mountain of the cross, it will be different. Their faith will shake, and eventually they too flee. But the memory of the transfigured Christ implanted in their soul had to take effect after the resurrection. Then they will know what raised him from the dead man. For us, it's a similar situation in our spiritual journey. The spiritual life is about 2 things, basically. One is climbing mountains, and the other one is moving from light to darkness. So we find ourselves bouncing between the mountain climbing and moving from dark to light. And when I was in 5th grade, you hear a lot of my 5th grade, and the reason is because I did it twice. So I have a lot of stories from 5th grade. But my first 5th grade, a friend and I, rebellious as we were, decided to rebel against our parents for whatever. I had no idea what it was, but we decided to run away from home into a mountain. We took candy with us for lunch and some sandwiches. And as we rode up the mountain, it wasn't a mountain, it was more like a hill. So it wasn't like Mount Lemon. It was like a hill. But we started our journey and we went up and we said we'll be there and we're going to eat in the peak of it. And we went and then we realized we had to come down again, and then we went because you don't realize that we didn't have GPS, so you don't realize the mountain is actually not one mountain, but there are several of them. So we had to come up and then come down, come up and then come down. About the 3rd time we're like, okay, we're heading up. We ran out of candies, and about 4 or 5 hours later we come back home and figure we made a statement. And our parents did not realize that we were gone. You know, so much a statement we made. But a lesson was learned, and the lesson was that when you want to climb a mountain, be ready to climb several of them. Because it's never only one. It's always one mountain and then another when you go down, up and down. Saint Teresa of Aguirre refers to, in her book, the 7 mountains in regards to the spiritual life. It is like climbing mountains constantly. And there is 2 moments basically in the spiritual journey. One is the ascension, when we're walking up the mountain, which is tiresome, is work. If you want to have a good, healthy spiritual life, you have to work at it. It doesn't come out on its own. I work on it every day. Every priest, every monk that I know struggles with it. You know? I was talking, we had our house lesson the other day, and I was talking with some two people who are considering entering the convent. And they were saying, but sometimes nuns look so holy. I said, it's very easy to look holy. You just have to tilt your head 36 degrees. You know, and you look holy. That's not the holy life. People in religious life, they have real struggles the same as you do. But it's about climbing a mountain and going up and then going down, going up, going down. And that's basically how the mountain works. The 7 mountains, the 7-story mountain, the Santa Teresa of Aguirre described. It's precisely that. It's like a struggle. Sometimes it feels that you're moving up, sometimes it feels you're moving down. So in that movement, that's how we become saints. In the up and the down. When we find ourselves in a state of spiritual lukewarmness, which most of us do in one point or another, we don't know what it is. You know, it is that moment when you feel like blah. Blah. It's like, you know, those days when it's humid and there is no air, and you just want to come out of your house because nothing moves except the mosquitoes. Those blah. That's the spiritual lukewarmness. The soul feels like that. It's like a blah. There is no ups and downs. It's just a line, which means you're dead. The lukewarmness of the soul is one of the most common illnesses for the soul, and most people go through them many times, many years. That reality of the spiritual lukewarmness of the soul is not climbing up the mountain or down the mountain. It's basically on a state. Another way which you can see it is, as I said, the light and darkness tension that moves in the soul. Light being enlightened by Christ, by the gospel, by His message, so much that our actions reflect it. We become volunteers. We help out in the church. We cannot have enough. We study more about the church. We want to know more. So there is those moments of light. But then there are those moments of darkness. And in those moments of darkness, we see nothing. And most of the time it is easier to fall into sin in those moments of darkness because we sin like it's nothing. And we just fall into sin and we fall away from the Lord. However, from sin and darkness, it is easier to see the light and to move towards it. Because that's when we feel guilty. We're in the midst of our sins, our sinfulness, and we have done great things. And then the Lord moves us towards them. Thus the sacrament of reconciliation moves us to the light. Immediately. It's something so fast that it doesn't matter. The Lord says even if your soul or you are stained as blood, you will become white as wool. The vesture of Jesus in the Transfiguration and appearance in white reminds us of our own baptismal garments when we were baptized and we were white. Why? Because we are vested with Jesus, with His Transfiguration. We are vested with His divinity. We put it on. So when we sin, we come to reconcile to the Lord, we come to the sacrament of reconciliation, and we put our vest again, like nothing happened. White as snow. It's very simple. But we continue the walking down, up and down. That's why I wanted to make a distinction between the light and darkness, grace, sin. But then the walk is not the same. Even if you're a saint and you're holy, you're going to have those ups and downs. The path of walking to the Lord is the Lord working with us. And those paths we sometimes feel, where is the Lord? Why is it so hard? Why don't we just reach a point in our spiritual life and we just stay in it? People sometimes come for a spiritual correction, and one of the first questions I ask them is, where is your peak? Where was your peak? In one moment in your life, in your memory that you can think about, that you go back to and you say, this was the best moment spiritually that I was. I was praying, I was talking to the Lord, I felt a goal, I had a movement that I was able to serve Him. We have to have that incrustating in our memory, always available, what the computers call ready access memory. That's where our moments of peakness with the Lord need to always remain, because when we are in a lukewarm state, we need to remember where we were before. How do we go back there? We did the same thing we did before. What got us there before is going to get us there again. It often happens just as simple as going to Mass. Often I hear, Father, I haven't gone to Mass in such a long time. I don't know what happened. What should I do? Go to Mass. That's simple. You know? I haven't prayed in a long time. What do? Pray. It's that simple. You know, you don't have to generate it. What happens in the lukewarm problem, the reason why we fall into the lukewarmness in the first place, is because we're following emotions, the passions, what the Catechism calls. We're following the emotion. Lukewarmness remains in the part of us that is emotional. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to move out of lukewarmness by changing the emotion. I want to feel different about this. I want to feel different about going to church. I want to feel different about God, my prayer life. I want to feel different about brothers and sisters. I don't feel like forgiving. I don't feel like doing this. All that is in the part of ourselves that is the emotional part of us. It's not bad. It's not an evil place. It's just a part of us. In that emotional part of us, there is a trap though. Because if we are lukewarm, then the emotional part of us is lukewarm. Which means we cannot get ourselves unstuck. So it's like a car in the mud. The wheels of it needs traction to get us out of it. So how do we get ourselves unstuck? By looking at the video of Christ. Otherwise, it won't happen. The Psalm today tells us in a very vivid way in regards to the relationship with the mountains. The mountains melt like wax before the Lord. Not before anything else, but before the Lord. What I ultimately recommend is an encounter with God Himself, with the teachings in the Word of God themselves, with the objectivity of the church's teaching. Not with the sentimental side, but with the rational side. An example, if you're going through a spiritual lukewarmness, read the Catechism, read the Creed, read Thomas Aquinas, St. Bonaventure, read the writings of the popes. Avoid a spiritual, I want to put the word spiritual, avoid sentimental writings. Do not read the chicken soup or whatever. It's not good in those moments. You're just basically feeding the lukewarmness. Do not read anything sentimental or emotional, because basically you're going to get stuck. What gets us unstuck is reason. It has to be rational, it has to be logical. Otherwise, we will not get unstuck. That is how the mountains smell like wax. Because the Lord takes over them, and they were like, there is the Lord. Yesterday, in one of those unfortunate moments when you're cruising to television and trying to figure out what should I watch, I ended up watching The Exorcist. 1973. And there was all these problems with science and whatever. But whoever wrote that, I don't know much about the movie except that it's kind of strange. But there is this scene in which that younger priest who's coming out with the older priest, he's trying to explain the demon. So he's saying, well, there are three kinds of personalities inside the girl. There's three kinds. Let me explain to you the three kinds. And the priest, the exorcist, turns around and says, why? There's only one, and it's the devil himself. But there are three voices. No, there is only one. See, that in reality, we get entangled, the emotions get entangled with all these voices. With all this, what I think. There's only one enemy. And there's only one Savior. Do not get mixed in there. We ask the Blessed Virgin Mary to give us the gift of clarity, so that we always see the Virgin Mary directing us to Jesus Himself and nowhere else. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit.